3-2-1 process is you have a thought. And you have a thought and you go, well, that's interesting. Or, gosh, is that possible? Or, wow, wouldn't that be fun? Or, I don't know, I've never tried that. Now that thought, if you embrace that thought and then you picture the thought, having an image or an imagination, to have that hold that image. Okay? Now, that's your process. That's number 3. That's number 3. And that's really your only work, your only big job in the process is to think it and see it. Okay? Now, you already have non-physical, which we've been clear. Non-physical goes right to work. It works out every detail. It finds it. It creates it. It sets up the genome so it can be. It works out every nuance. Not your work, not your job. Don't raise one finger toward it. Forget it. Let non-physical do what non-physical does. And that's orchestrating your thoughts. Okay? Once you have the thought, you're the human creator. Once you can see it in your mind, then non-physical goes to work on the details. Now, if you don't have any rules about it, it happens instantly. But if there are any rules whatsoever, you will not allow non-physical or anything else in creation to usurp your rules. Well, now that's another section, the rules section. That's a whole other topic. But let's say you have no rules or nothing to push against that process. Now, that's the 3. Now, number 2 is non-physical's role. They work all the details. They make the reservations. They set it all up. They get the car ready. They make the where you're going available. They get the corner room with the nice view. On your schedule, they work out everything. Now, one is where you're redefining. Do you want a blue Porsche convertible or do you want a red Porsche convertible? And that's the 1 stage, and that's just your preference. Do you want the camel interior or the sable interior or the gray interior? The car already is. You're just making the final selective choices. The cake's already done. It's already cooled. It's already iced. It's already on the little piece of thing. Your final direction is how large a piece of cake you're going to cut. That's all. It's the fine details. Now, when you get to that 1 process, the redefining, if you are ambiguous, just say, well, I don't care. I'll have one of each. But if you got rules about it, then you're going to get hung up in the details.
If we're doing number 3 and it's not happening, what's the workaround for that?
The first part is you don't have a workaround. You overlay. You start asking the question, if there's a degree of separation, who, what, when, where, and how, clean up on aisle 5 refers to one of those. And if they get all the power in the whole wide world, and they go, when did I get it? Well, you've always had it. Well, how did I get it? Well, you have it within your non-physical. Well, why do I have it? Well, because that's the way you chose it. Well, who's over it? Who's more powerful than me? No one. You're the most powerful one regarding your point of... See, those degrees of separation. And once you can get to a place where you soften all that, you overlay that constantly by eliminating the rules and regulations, then everything becomes possible. It's the essence of how creation is wrought right here, right now. There is no workaround. There's a place of, instead of thinking or wondering, then you know. And if you have to solve who, what, when, where, and how, it sometimes can be a very long, arduous journey. But if you somehow can go beyond that and overlay it to the point that you don't even notice, boom, no problem. It's instant. There is no time drag or delay. Anytime there's a delay, that's just you making sure.
Think it, see it, forget it. Yeah, okay.
Not everyone else does the forget it dynamic, and that slows down the creation. Think it, see it, forget it.
Think it, see it, forget it. Yeah, okay.
Not everyone else does the forget it dynamic, and that slows down the creation. Think it, see it, forget it.
Think it, see it, forget it. Yeah, okay.
Not everyone else does the forget it dynamic, and that slows down the Think it. See it. Forget it.
Think it, see it, forget it. Yeah, okay.
Not everyone else does the forget it dynamic, and that slows down the creation. Think it. See it. Forget it.
Think it, see it, forget it. Yeah, okay.
Not everyone else does the forget it dynamic, and that slows down the creation. Think it. See it. Forget it.
Think it, see it, forget it. Yeah, okay.
Not everyone else does the forget it dynamic, and that slows down the creation. Think it. See it. Forget it.
Think it, see it, forget it. Yeah, okay.
Not everyone else does the forget it dynamic, and that slows down the creation. Think it. See it. Forget it.
Think it, see it, forget it. Yeah, okay.
Not everyone else does the forget it dynamic, and that slows down the creation. Think it. See it. Forget it. And life is supposed to be fun. But at the end of the day, what you need to recall and what you need to want to know, and when you know you can never unknow, is that everything in your world you created yourself. Every dynamic that is, you created. If it's got a name, you created it. And once you come to that place of power, if there's something that you don't care for, you can overlay it with one you do care for. And then you find yourself bebopping along, having fun, having joy, having contrast, preferring which flavor ice cream you like, eating as many chocolate cakes as you can slide down your throat hole, and having a marvelous, wonderful time. That's what it's supposed to be about. Folks get so tangled up in being so heavenly bound, they're no earthly good. And then they find themselves confounded, and then they go, well, I'm just going to get me some cancer. The cancer's the only thing that's going to help me at this point. I can't see no other way out, and I'd rather go out with cancer before them divas get us. So, you know, it just makes it so much simpler after a little bit. So humans are deciding to transition out of their meat-sack body where their creativity or creation element lies, and they use that as their excuse to no longer enjoy the place of creating. Because it isn't about living. You are an eternal being. We don't care which aliens is fixing to come probe you rectally. You are eternal. And when you get that concept in your throat hole, it becomes great. And you can turn on your pineal gland and figure it all out real fast. Because then the labyrinth of your mind won't be used to confound you and offer every concept that you can consider other than the obvious of how did all this happen, how did it get here, who, what, when, where, how, and why, that you spend all day, every day trying to figure out, and you ain't no closer than you was when you separated yourself from your power the first time. So let's talk about it one more time. Life is supposed to be fun. But at the end of the day, what you need to recall and what you need to want to know, and when you know you can never unknow, is that everything in your world you created yourself. Every dynamic that is, you created. If it's got a name, you created it. And once you come to that place of power, if there's something that you don't care for, you can overlay it with one you do care for.